Welcome to the David Spisak Show, but more importantly, welcome from NADA 2024 Las Vegas. And most importantly, I want to welcome you right here to the Tekion booth, which is the epicenter of energy here at the convention center. Yesterday, from the moment this booth opened to the moment it closed, it was nonstop electric energy. And we're seeing more and more dealers that are looking for solutions that are going to carry them far into the future, modern solutions that will allow them to meet their clients and meet their clients' expectations now and into the future. It is my just huge pleasure to have the opportunity to be able to sit down with the founder and CEO of Tekion, Mr. Jay Vijayan. Jay, would you mind joining me?
Good morning, David.
Good morning. It's so good to be with you.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
So Jay, you know, this is my third year of having the pleasure of being with you and your team at the Tekion booth. And in each of those previous years, it built on the one before. And literally from the moment the show opened, from the moment people were allowed to come in, they came here. And as I noticed, as I wandered around to some of the other exhibits and booths, and there's some fine solutions out there across this convention center, but you only see this level of energy and electricity here. And why do you think that is?
Well, thank you. It's a great question, important one for us as well, right, David? As you know, we've been in touch for a few years now. We work really, really hard to deliver value. So one is true innovation that brings value to our dealer partners and to the industry. We work really hard, and it's gratifying to see people recognize, our dealers and the industry recognizes. You may know this well. We don't do, lot, if not probably any marketing. It is all, word of mouth, people showing interest, and the progress we have been making. And as you mentioned, this is the third year we have been at NADA. And the first year, good-sized booth, one of the largest size we took. We were overflowing, like you said, our demo booths were booked. And then we said, you know what, we can grow. So we need more, we need to attend to more people, cater to more dealers and their demands. We increased the booth size by another 25% on the second year. And then still it was overflowing. This is the third year, we doubled our booth size and still overbooked. So it is a good problem to have. And I think it's the hard work is paying off. And I feel people truly want to know what we are doing. And we have a combination of really good, our existing dealer partners, they are bringing their references, other dealers, and we have new potential customers, dealer partners coming in, showing interest to see what we have done.
It is interesting because I've been coming to NADA for over 30 years. And one of the classic moves by dealers that I see is they may put spouse on their badge, or they'll put manager on their badge as a way of having less likelihood of somebody in a booth coming out to grab them. And here it's the opposite. Here I have dealers that I've known for decades in some case, or years, saying literally, hey, David, can you help get me into the Tekion booth like it's a Taylor Swift concert, and they want to hook up on tickets. I've never honestly seen that before. Now, the energy was big 2 years ago. Last year, I've never seen this before. Literally, it's like there's a velvet rope, like it was Marquee in New York, a nightclub, and people would come in and say, hey, I'd like to see somebody. Do you have a reservation? No, I do not. Okay, great. Why don't you go ahead and sit there, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. This year, it seems like more dealers are understanding the power and the value of what your solution is bringing. And I from my perspective, dealing with dealers, it seems like what's really causing this energy and this connection is the combination of the innovation, the obsession that I constantly see your team have for their customers, their clients, and developing something that honestly is not a product, but is a true solution. So Can you tell me, you had a couple big announcements yesterday that are another sign of your constant innovation at Tekion. Would you mind talking about those two latest innovations?
Absolutely. And in my keynote yesterday, I briefly walked through the highlights of what we did in 2023. I mean, three things I did in my keynote. This first is, we're a fairly large company now and growing, right? Close to 3,000 people, dealers across the country, and maybe in different countries as well. We have started, but at the same time, we are truly accountable ourselves. Even if others don't ask, we want to share what have we been doing for our dealers and for the industry. So I shared all the highlights. It's a pretty good summary of how much progress we made. I shared a little bit of highlights of what our focus is going to be in 2024. Squarely, as you know, the industry trend is changing, so we are focusing on what brings more value to help our dealers to navigate the correcting environment, right? And then I launched two products. So the first one is, you may be familiar with our sales concierge. That means from the DMS, the tool enables our dealers to sell pretty much remotely. Of course, the point is, it gives the full independence to the consumer and the dealer. It doesn't matter where the sale starts and where the sale ends. The consumer can start from their couch at their home and come into the dealership. It is the DMS, so it's just connected. Or you could also come into the dealership and then the consumer can go home and say, I need to consult my spouse and close the deal. You can still do that. Now we launched the next version, more advanced version of Concierge. We call it as Concierge Pro, where the sales agent can start a live video session. Of course, that's not the best part of it. It's a good part of it. It's a human connection. And then they can literally transfer that session from their laptop or desktop to their mobile phone, walk to the vehicle, do a walk around, seeing a picture-in-picture of the customer as well and the car, record the video, not only show it live, but send the recording later, and then quickly walk back to their desk if needed, sit there, and then pencil the deal and close it. So in short, that's what it is. You can do the AI chatbot, chat on all of those, but completely closing the loop with even though it's digital, you make the human connection and close the deal.
And I think there's a couple things to me that were very striking. Number one is, especially when the pandemic hit, that was really what accelerated digital retail. We went from, having less than 50% dealers having a solution online to 96%. However, there was a problem. It turned out that the digital retailing solutions at that time could not, in fact, digitally retail anything. So it'd be similar to if I pull out my banking app on my phone, I deposit my check, and I think this is amazing. And then once I get done, it says, congratulations, just bring your check to the bank. That's not digital, right? So that's where we were. The second problem is it didn't have that human connection. And the third problem was it wasn't seamless. It required me, and I know dealers that had to have 2, 3, 4 plugins in an attempt to try to replicate that type of experience. It's simply not possible. And so in this case, I can launch this as a sales associate. I can launch this from my CRM, from my inventory list, from anywhere. I can, from a desk, I can have the conversation with you as a client. I can allow you to choose whether you want to continue this online or whether you want to come in. I can bring my F&I partner if they've got a question.
Yeah,
on rate.
You can add a video chat of another person in the dealership, an F&I manager, exactly.
And then when I'm done, what I just did is going to be resident in the CRM, no different than if I sent an email. So that allows my management team. But there's something that I think is also going to manifest out of this. Dealers talk all the time about struggles in bringing great people on, especially Gen Z and millennials. And this is a situation where I can also allow a sales associate, I can extend my audience in terms of my ability to get great people because I can allow you, if you're a great sales associate, to be able to do this to sell 30 cars literally from your house.
Right, exactly.
You don't have to do it the old paradigm anymore. And I believe that's going to allow the Tekion clients to be able to open themselves up and avail themselves to the very best talent. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And David, you know this well, and I've been mentioning this. I think sometimes we miss the perspective and we end up kind of overdoing certain things. And you referred COVID. Of course, COVID pushed a lot of things digital. But what I strongly feel we have done is we massively misinterpret what consumers are looking for, right? What I mean by that. I know people talk a lot about like, okay, everyone is going to buy cars online and future is going to be 100% online. Do we even need a store anymore? The point is that's exactly what I mean. So I'll give you why it is. So as I mentioned, you can buy every single Apple product online. Every single product that is out there. Same experience. But why is there still a line in an Apple store? Why is there a crowd? Why is there the line a mile long if they launch a new product? Because consumers want the touch feel experience also. So the point there is consumers are not saying, give me everything online. Consumers are saying that give me the full independence and choice to make my decision however I want to do. Because the way my 20-year-old daughter would shop and the way I would shop would be very different. And why would we whitewash and say, this is how everyone wants to do it? Technology is there to make sure that we simplify. Doesn't matter who the consumer is. In today's world with AI, you can personalize and say, doesn't matter where they start, where they end, I give them a seamless consumer experience. That's what true digital is. It's not about all online or all in store or, you need everything.
It's such an important comment because as much as dealers will say, I believe that clients want to come in. As soon as everything opened up from the pandemic, people started coming, they don't want to buy online. And the reality is, no, they don't want to buy online with the solution that existed because it didn't work. So same thing is, if I order on Instacart and then I got to go pick up my groceries, where's the value in that? And this is about being able to allow a client to choose when they want to buy, how they want to buy, where they want to buy, who they want to interact with. And something tells me that if Apple had this solution, you probably wouldn't have the long lines in the store, because what they want is to be able to sometimes just simply ask a question about a product.
Right? Like the good thing, we can make that happen in automotive, but even in Apple, the reason consumers, feel comfortable going to the store or online is it's exactly the same thing they get. What they see online is what they get, the same price, the same experience, it's all connected. The point is, yes, it can be even better, but in automotive, that's not the case. Like you pointed out, if you have a plugged-in digital retailing solution, you can't close a deal, right? You can do something, and then end of the day, like you said, eventually you go to the store. So it's not connected. The problem is you can't show something and you can't show something different when the consumer really wants to make a decision. That's where things break down. Now, if you connect the journey digitally, everything doesn't from online to in-store, then you make the experience seamless and it makes it easy for consumer to make the decision.
And from my experience working with dealers, I'm in dealerships about half the year, literally. One of the things that I think also has been overlooked is while we've been so focused on wanting to remove friction from the client experience, we oftentimes overlook, in order to accomplish that, we must remove friction from the sales side, from our people's side. And so if the experience is difficult, as it has been, there's going to be a percentage of your sales team that simply is not going to engage. It's just too much brain damage, too difficult, it's too arduous. And what are they going to do? They're going to want to go back to what they know, which is selling cars directly. So I want you to come into the showroom to see me. That's more important to me than how you want to buy the car. That's a big deal.
No, well said. I mean, since you've gone through this journey by yourself in different forms, right? You've been owner, operator, dealer, and you've built software. But that's a fundamental point. What people miss is, like you said, consumer experience is all connected. It's not about just removing friction. Yes, you need to do that. But if you don't remove friction for your staff at the dealership, if you make them open 9 different windows, 10 different windows to jump through hoops to, create a deal, invoice, credit check, trade in, one by one, it is, whether you like it or not, whatever band-aid you're going to put, it's going to be visible for the consumer. Today's consumers are smart. They're going to see every minute, every few minutes, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes you're going to waste. They're going to keep losing trust. Like, what are they doing? Why are they making me wait? What are they cooking in there? Like, you're going to lose trust.
And the last point I will make that strikes me is dealerships are always struggling with staffing and throughput. I don't want to have too many people on staff, too many F&I when I don't have the deals to support it. I don't want to be overloaded on my sales floor. That's not good for my team's morale. But in this case, I have completely unshackled myself because throughput, I literally can increase the efficiency of my used car manager, of my finance manager, of my sales manager, of everybody that may be involved in that deal. But I want to jump to a different topic. And I geek out on data. I've been analyzing data
Yes, you do.
And operational profit for dealers for more than 3 decades. You've developed something that has taken this to a whole new level, and I believe it's referred to as AI/ML. Is that it? And so instead of me looking for a report, I now can just seek answers and immediately get them. Would you mind sharing what that?
Absolutely. And like you said, you've done great and have created, wonderful technology for dealers on getting insights of their business, analytics, right? So let me talk through a little bit about journey. And as you know well, there are 3 steps. I want to give credit to our, Tekion team who has done a phenomenal job, right? Analytics or AI or retailing, the Concierge Pro. But now coming back to the journey, as you know, the journey started with, any tool, reports. You give a lot of reports. That means you give a lot of data, then leave it to your customer to interpret. Like, okay, you give, different reports, different formats, and they know their business. We leave it to them, like you interpret the data whatever way you want. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is analytics. You've created, great analytics tool, and you've seen Tekion Advanced Analytics. The team has done an amazing job, the best in the industry. Now, the next step was visualization. We take that, data, we aggregate it and give them in a much more consumable format for them to make decisions. Okay, you give charts, graphs, numbers that make sense. The next step is like, okay, even still, it takes some time for that data to be available, then for them to make a decision. And typically in an industry, in the dealership world, David, in a typical dealership, I've seen this over and over again, the general manager or general sales manager or the dealer principal, CFO, they have their staff prepare reports for them. Every department prepares reports. And you can think about the time when I talk to them, they'll say it takes, 5 hours for 10 people. Think about the money. The time is money. And days. Still many times the dealer principal says, I have to, chase 5 people to get an answer for what's going on in a particular department, particular expense or, particular gross income, whatever that is. So now we have notched up with our AI, specifically generative AI. As you know, that's kind of pretty much the future. So what we have done is you can have a conversation with your AI. So we call it a Tekion AI. And you can ask pointed questions. So AI is constantly working to crunch numbers, and it'll give you some basic information that you need with specific numbers on, gross to expense ratio. And then you can ask like, okay, which, department I have the highest gross to expense ratio. Then AI tells you. Then you say, okay, say if my fixed operations has the highest gross to expense ratio, which line item is causing me that leakage? Like, where is it going? It'll exactly go and say, okay, your legal expenses increased in the last month, and this is the dollar amount. So you can keep drilling down very simple pointed questions, fraction of seconds, you can get the answer that normally took hours or days. So that's the second product we launched.
When I first developed my product, Reverse Risk, I thought the problem was it was so difficult, so onerous to get anything out of the DMS. What if I simplified that and allowed somebody to get anything they want within 3 seconds? That solves the problem. You know what? It didn't, because it required them going to it. So then I thought, okay, well, I'll send the reports to them. That'll solve the problem. No, it didn't.
And the DMS data transfer is not real time for you.
No, it's not real time. But it still requires the person that gets that report to first of all look at it, be able to interpret it, and understand the takeaway. And that doesn't happen. As we've evolved in the last 10 plus years, again, talent development is tough. And we have the youngest managers we've ever had with the least amount of experience. So what I think is a tremendous breakthrough here is I don't have to look for reports. My people don't have to look for reports. They now can seek answers. And if I'm not there as the dealer, GM, GSM, the ability to just simply engage, and I want everybody, if you're not familiar with generative AI or interacting with AI, this is as simple as getting on here and saying, hey, what was my outside service expense last month? And it's no different than if the controller is right there saying, this is what it is. Oh, by the way, it went up 12%. You may want to take a look at that. Oh, okay. So now it's allowing my managers to have better information in less time, which in turn allows them to make better decisions, which in turn allows me as a dealer to make more money. And that's what this is about.
Absolutely. And then I think kind of you mentioned one of the key points, right? For analytics or even for AI, the foundation is data. If you don't have that right, there is no intelligence you can generate. So we felt like, we have that data. It is pretty much real time. How can we bring value to our customers? And I'm quite excited about this. And we have shown it to a few very selective dealers. And of course, I unveiled it yesterday. They are, beyond excited.
Yeah, it is going to, just like you unshackled the associates to allow them to realize their full potential with the other solution that we just referred to, Sales Concierge Pro, just like you unshackle the client to be able to buy when they want, how they want, where they want, and get that done in a faster amount of time than ever before. This is also allowing our team to be able to elevate themselves without me having to honestly spend maybe an amount of money that's not viable for that store on development or on training, but it's also, more importantly, allowing me to get what I need, just like the client, what I need exactly when I need it, so I can go back to doing what? Selling cars, coaching my people, or interacting with clients.
You're spot on. That's exactly right. Right? Two key value. Number one, you get the information you need to the point, the numbers to make the right decision to propel your business forward and be successful. The second, it's interconnected, is don't waste the valuable time of yours and your staff in, pulling together numbers and trying to tie things together to make sense out of it. Go sell cars. Go make your customers happy. That'll bring you more money, because if you spend more time in just counting money and, finding where you missed your dollars, then you're going to miss selling more and engaging with your customers and keeping them happy.
Now, last thing is, and thank you, Jay, for that. 2 years ago, we were talking about having the ability to ramp up and bring more clients on. Last year, I had the opportunity to speak to people like Brendan Harrington and Doug Ero.
I just saw him around there. I think he's standing right there.
So I had the opportunity to speak to some great dealers that had made the transition and who literally were destroying the myths that Tekion won't work in a group. Tekion can't work in a big environment. What's bigger than Longo, right? And this year, now you've got some of the leading dealer groups out there: Bergstrom, Germain, Longo, Penske,
Rohrman,
Automotive, and now you crossed another big path with Asbury, right? And could you talk about this deal with Asbury for them, and I mean, just for everybody out there.
Sure.
When you get up to a public level, they answer to a higher authority, right? What is the name of that hot dog? So we answer to a higher authority, Hebrew National. But they answer to Sarbanes-Oxley, SEC.
Right. The board.
And they have to have their
more accountability. Yeah, exactly.
They have the highest accountability out there. And it is, I think, an incredible statement that they have made the decision to transition their company for two reasons. Number one, it says everything that any dealer would want to know and hear about Tekion, which is Tekion is ready for any client of any size. But it also says something about that company, that if we're going to move forward in the next 5 or 10 years, be relevant, be competitive, be able to meet our clients where they are, we can't do it unless we have modern technology. So I can't go forward with solutions that maybe are decades old. I need to make that transition. What does it mean for you and for your team?
Well, no, thank you for asking, right? It is, I'll say this, actions mean a lot more than words. Okay, so I'll start with that, because as we were heads down focused, we're still focusing on innovating, making progress, delivering value. As you know, with the brand growing, there is always rumors and myths. I kind of touched on this in my speech yesterday as well, about like, hey, Tekion, there's no way they can build a full DMS. As you know, today, let alone DMS, we build a lot more than DMS, right? And then the second is, there is no way, I mean, giving a few of many, right? There's no way in the world Tekion can integrate with all the OEMs. Okay, we did every single OEM integrated, thanks to our OEM partners. And then, there's no way Tekion can run a large dealer group. Okay, now we run Penske Motor Group and Longo Toyota, what bigger than? We run Bergstrom, 35 plus dealership. We run Chapman. So we kept moving and showing that we can do it. Now, as I said, as you mentioned, we're super proud about the Asbury partnership. Again, we released a public statement. I don't want to go too much into the detail because I want to be respectful. Like you said, they're a public company. But like you said, as a public company with that level of accountability, we have a very long-term partnership agreement. That's what I could say now. And there is no way in the world they're going to give a press release with their CEO and me as a Tekion CEO combined statement without a commitment. Do you believe? I know, because like I said, there is always rumors. Even with this one, there are rumors that people are like, they're testing it. Yeah. Why would a public company do press release if they want to just test something? So anyway, the point is, we will show it more than saying it, but we are super proud about this partnership with Asbury. This is going to be a very long term. There is going to be many more.
Yeah, I thought what's really striking and telling is when that was announced, not long after CDK, there was a statement that this is just a pilot. They're just trying it. And, I used to work for AutoNation, and I could tell you for 8 years, we don't try anything because it's a massive undertaking, and you would not disrupt and create a fragmented DMS environment. It's the opposite. You would only do that if it's a move to move forward with a full commitment. And what I thought was very telling, it was while CDK, I heard out of that camp that, yeah, it's just a test. They're going to stay with CDK. The executive level from Asbury said, no. This is where we're going. And I'll leave it right there because I agree with you. The actions always speak louder.
Exactly. So we'll show it, as we move forward, how big, how large, how we're going to grow.
So I've got just one last question, maybe the toughest question for you. Why do I not have a pair of Tekion socks?
You get it right away. We may run out of it, but you're going to get it, irrespective of. So I was talking to a dealer, so it's cool, right? It's nice, and I'm really proud our brand. The point is, they were talking to a dealer. He said, who's a big fan of Tekion. Jay, I have Tekion Gen 1 socks, Gen 2. Then I'm missing Gen 3. I think you guys are on Gen 5. I was like, I myself didn't know we have Gen 5 socks. It was awesome from a brand perspective. So you're going to get...
I would like to. If anybody, I bet you if there's some Tekion team member, dealer...
There, see? That's what Tekion is about.
Mary Lou, thank you. Hey, Mary Lou.
Tekion speed.
I'm just missing the other 4. I need the other 4. These are going to go on
They are in high demand. We have to search for it. We have to go find
on
it.
eBay. You could get all 5, the Gen 1 through 5. Well, listen, it is always a pleasure to be with this team because, I will say this lastly, you can create great innovation, and there is great innovation throughout this hall. There really is. But you also need to have an innovative team. You have to have a team that thinks differently. You have to have a team that believes in the mission, and you have to have a team that is 100% committed to the mission and are equally obsessed with serving their clients and enabling their clients to achieve what they want rather than focusing on what we want at Tekion. Fair?
Oh, more than fair. Thank you for saying that, David. And I'm incredibly, proud and thankful for my team. They work hard, really, really hard. Not only smart, they are smart people, but always work really hard in the best interest of our customers. They know, and it's in their DNA, in our DNA, that if we work hard and deliver value to our customers, automatically our value will keep growing. Thank you for bringing that up. And definitely, I will give all the credit to my incredible team.
That's a great team.
Many of them are here. Thank you.
Great team. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, David. Wonderful talking to you.
Everybody for taking the time to listen and wishing you all the best. You and your team on a fantastic rest of the show.
Thank you.
Get ready. They're coming. And a fantastic rest of the show and a great 2024.
Thank you so much.
You so much.
You too.
Appreciate it. Thank you.